How is that? Are you too low? Let me see. Maybe un poco too low, but I think it'll be fine. Anyway. Welcome to Monday. It is October 6th. This is actually being recorded the Monday before this comes out on the Thursday. I don't think I've ever recorded so quick to time out. Maybe I have. Oh, that's why it's so dark in here. My plant lights aren't on. Ugh, my poor baby's not getting light. Ugh. I was like, it's so weirdly dark in here. I don't know why. Anyway, we're good now. So this is the first Monday back to work after my reset weeks. For those of you who are new around here, hi, my name is Vivian Asimos. I'm a researcher and a writer, and I typically plan by quarters, and I take a little bit of time off between each quarter to just rest a little bit, to reassess my projects, kind of where they're at, what's going on. Do I need to pick up a different one? Do I need to drop one? Like, what's going on? So I took a nice little break for at least most of the 2-week period. On Friday, Taylor Swift released a new album, and I am doing a research project on Taylor Swift. So obviously this was really important data time, and so I have been working throughout anyway. So today, because it's a new quarter, I also thought I would kind of change up a little bit of my schedule and kind of how I schedule my time. Part of my kind of reset time between each quarter is also assessing my schedule. I'm somebody who really likes routine. I like having a schedule. I like knowing what I'm going to be doing at what time of the day. However, I get really bored of that very quickly. And so I find that getting myself a kind of new schedule, a new flow about every quarter, sometimes every month, but I try to do every quarter so that way it gets really stuck in. I can really practice it. Tends to be pretty good. Even if I find something that really works for me, I kind of need to change at least small bits of it or do a completely different thing the next quarter. I could probably flip between two, but anyway, point is, I was reassessing my schedule, and part of it was that also me and my husband were kind of thinking about rearranging schedules for like our personal time that has nothing to do with work. So I figured now would be a good time to try something completely different than I've done before. Most of the time in the previous quarters, I've done like time blocking elements of it. So I had certain days, certain times of that day that was set aside to work on a particular project. It worked for me, kind of. The last 2 quarters, I've kind of thrown it out the window, and I haven't really had much of a schedule at all. It hasn't not worked, but I kind of ended this quarter in a bit of a mad dash, and I don't really like that feeling. I want to feel a little bit more like slowly getting there to the end of the quarter rather than the last couple of days being like, oh no, I've got to do all this stuff. So anyway, point is that I decided to kind of change up the way that I scheduled my days for this quarter, and today is my first day of doing so. So you've already seen a little bit of my morning. I've got tea steeping downstairs, so I'm gonna go grab it in a second. 8:30 is my time that I would like to be starting at my desk, and it is currently 8:30. Shit. All right, we'll get going. Today's going to be focused on the nonfiction side, is going to be focused on Taylor Swift research. As I said, from about Friday on, it has been crazy in that world. It is still crazy in that world. What I think we're going to do is we're going to kind of start thinking about what this book is going to look like. I haven't really done too much of that yet. I've started to, and then I don't know, it wasn't really feeling right, so I just kind of went back to doing more research, and then I came back to it, and then I went back to doing more research. So I think today I want to do a little bit of kind of reading planning, figuring out kind of what strategies we're doing for the foreseeable future for the project, kind of figuring out that out. And part of that is going to be figuring out a little bit more set what this book is going to look like, because the idea is that at the end of this quarter, I am going to have my proposal for this book ready and done in order to start sending out for potential publication. I have a survey that people have been answering, and part of that is also if they want to be kept in touch with the research. to give me their email address, and I would kind of sign them up to this newsletter that I'm going to start putting out. I haven't put out one yet. It's been a couple of months since the survey's been out, so I think I'm going to at least set up the newsletter and potentially put out my first one, but I'm at least going to get it all set up and ready to go, so it makes it easier to kind of pump out. So I've got the actual list going, and I have my template of what it's going to look like, because I don't want it to look like my other incidental mythology newsletters. I want it to look a little bit different. So we're gonna do that. So that's the plan. That's the plan. Is it's gonna be a bit of a Taylor Swift day, but a little bit more of like the actual research and what the book is going to look like, and a little bit of communication with the people who are interested in the research as well. Let's go grab my tea, which is still steeping downstairs for the second pot, and then we're gonna get going. Yay! So each one of these is like an idea that I need to cover in the book. Some of these are probably a chapter. Some of these might be just like an idea that will be referenced in a short bit of time but is important. Some of these might be more than a chapter. I'm trying to link together kind of similar ideas. So these are all fandom related things. This is all Taylor, but I've kind of separated them out into different kind of takes on it. I've got the myth stuff here. This is all like analysis of the storytelling and things like that. I feel like I'm missing things, but I think it's just because some of these are like I have songs as storytelling as one of the ones here. And like, that's probably going to be like a big thing, or at least an overarching idea. Fan analysis of music is probably going to be like a whole chapter. potentially more. It'll probably be a chapter of like how it works and then leading into kind of versions of it. I'm probably gonna have to use a lot of examples, so a lot of this is going to be extended out. I'm just trying to make sense of like the best flow, because unfortunately like a lot of this is so interconnected that trying to parse it out linearly is really difficult. We're gonna do our best here. Alright, we've made progress. I think I'm gonna start with a chapter all on Taylor. I think that's the best way in, rather than starting with like, this is what a myth is. Because no one cares about this. It's important, but no one cares. So we're gonna start here, and then we're gonna go here, 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 and here. I think. And I might add more to it. I'm trying to decide whether I'm gonna do it in big parts. But I don't want that to be, I want that to be chapter 1, but not necessarily the introduction. So it might be intro and that, and then part 1 being this, and then this, then this, then this. I think. We're gonna see how that looks. Alright, quick update. We have, I think, at least a rough outline. Each one of these is a chapter. I didn't put numbers on them because I was moving them around. But I think I've also done the kind of word count math, and I'm at 106,000 words, which is kind of long for nonfiction. I mean, to be honest, it's kind of long for fiction, but it's probably actually on par for fiction. So I don't think it's that bad. Because what is it? I think like the math is supposed to be about $3.50 for a page, right? So that would be... So from what I remember, cosplay was $65,000. That's not in... So the bibliography and formatting and acknowledgements and index. Okay, so if it was 65,000, oh God, I hate doing math. So let's see, if I have also an index, let's also factor in index, and biblio is probably going to be, I don't know, like say another 2K? Then that'll be 108. Okay, I think the problem is, right? I think the problem is that there's too much. And I'm kind of assuming 6,000 words per chapter, which I think is probably on par. It's on average, right? But there's going to be some that are less. There might be some that are more. Oh, Jesus. Do I remove things? Okay, so just to explain, in case anyone's like, why are you caring so much about word count? When you do your proposal, you have to put how many words on spec your book is going to be, because that affects price and, you know, things like that. So it might determine whether or not someone's interested in picking up your piece. Most nonfiction sits between, I think, 5 to about 70K, like 50 to about 70K. So that's typically what they say to aim for. However, I know for a fact, let's just use this as an example. This is a book by Tom Holland. Tom Holland is a historian. He's a historian. And this is, I mean, this is ridiculous. So this is 476 with an index. So, I mean, that's fine, right? I'm as famous as Tom Holland. So I'm a little on edge because it might make it harder for people to pick up, but it's covering a lot of stuff. So I know that there are books out there about Taylor specifically, and I know there are books about her songwriting, but this is looking more at the fandom and the view of her and things like that. So I think it'll be fine. I just don't know what to cut is the problem. Like, I don't know what to cut. The only thing I can think of cutting is the discussion on anti-fandom, which I'm also, like, that's where I'm ending. The last chapter is on anti-fandom, and I don't know if I like that. But at the same time, I think you need to discuss it. Like, you can't not discuss it. In fact, I find it really fascinating. So I have a feeling some people might want me to remove the chapter on the myth of the white feminine. That might be asked to be removed. But I'm leaving it. I'm leaving it for now anyway. They're gonna have to pry that chapter out of my cold, dead hands. And if they do pry it from my cold, dead hands, I'm putting it on Substack. That's for absolutely sure. I mean, I think we're just going to leave it at 106,000. That also does give me a really good structure of the things that I know I need to brush up on, at least enough to do the proposal. Because when you do the proposal, basically you also sketch out, you know, like a little brief discussion of what that chapter is going to be about. So for example, when I do the anti-fandom one, I need to explain what this chapter is about. And it's nice to include like a little like example of the kind of thing you're going to talk about. So if you're going to do a case study of discussing that case study, if you're going to cite a particular scholar, maybe using that. Obviously a lot of these I might be citing more than one scholar, but it'll be good to at least cite one of them if I am, as a way of being like, look, I'm citing people, and look, I know what I'm talking about, and I have all of this research already done. So there are some things that I know I need to brush up on. Anti-fandom is one of them. So it is 10:30. I have been at this for about 2 hours. That's pretty good. So I think what I'm going to do now is move over to communication with people and do the newsletter draft. I think reading notes is a good way to end because it gives us something to start later because it's kind of already finished and it's in the back of my mind. So I think that's what we're going to do. So, first one is scheduled. Yay! Okay. All right. All right. So it is now 10:01. I just finished doing at least, I think, the readings that I need to do before I feel comfortable tackling the proposal. Obviously, there'll be way more to do once that's done, but it's just for the matter of, like, time being. Initial look, initial breeze through. So yeah, that's me finished with all of the nonfiction work I'm supposed to be doing today. Woo! And it's 10:01, which is a good time. I figured about 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock-ish would be roughly when I would finish. I find that that's typically when I'm either just done with what I thought I would be able to accomplish, / when I start getting antsy and tired, and I'm definitely getting a little antsy. And we're gonna go for a nice walk, a nice long walk, because we've got like an hour. I like going for walks, as I'm sure many of you know by now. So we're gonna go on a little walk, and then we're gonna end our walk at a coffee shop. And that's where we're going to swap brains to fiction, and we're going to write in Project Submarine, which is my fiction novel that I'm writing. It's like a dark academia meets steampunk horror mystery thing. Let's go! Alright, we're pulling up my numbers. Oh, you're way down. Hold on. When I was grabbing my bag for going to the coffee shop, I found a notebook that I bought last week. I remember buying it, and I remember feeling like I had to buy it for like something this quarter, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it was supposed to be for. I don't know. I'm finished for the day. It is about 3:45, which I think is a good time to be done. So yeah. What I'm going to be doing for the rest of the day, we're going to clean that off. What we're going to be doing for the rest of the day, I'm not going to film it because it'll be for me. But what we're going to be doing is working on my personal curriculum, doing some research reading for that and taking some notes. If you want to know more about what I'm talking about with personal curriculum, please let me know. This quarter I'm doing a lot more like an undergraduate course with really prescriptive readings, but I'm already starting to kind of think about my next quarter one where I'm going to be a little bit more loosey-goosey with it. So if you want to know more about what I'm talking about, let me know and I'll do it. If you don't care, then whatever, I don't care. So just to sum up, we managed to do a rough outline for the Taylor Swift book, which is nice. I organized the newsletter and drafted it, and I also got some readings pinned out for that particular research project. Cool. And then I did a nice fiction writing break, which I wrote 1,360 words, which brings our grand total for the draft up to 26,232 words. I'm pretty happy with that. I was getting really tired when I was writing at the cafe, and I was having a really hard time focusing. I think the bits that I wrote aren't very good or cohesive, and I kind of finished the scenes a lot earlier than I think I probably would have in another occasion. I'm not sure. I'm hopeful that it's not a result of this schedule, but we'll find out. I'm going to try it for all of October, no matter what. And then if it worked, I'm going to keep doing it for the quarter. If it doesn't, then I might figure some rearranging at some point. It could be that it's Monday. You know, it's Monday. It's the first day back to actually like working all day. So, you know, if you have any scheduling stuff, tips and tricks that work for you, particularly for balancing multiple projects, let me know. I always like to hear new ideas. Anyway, I will see you next time. Bye!